At the beginning of the 19th century, New York was still a modest coastal city. It was busy, noisy, and full of promise, but far from the global giant it would one day become. Narrow streets, wooden buildings, and sailing ships defined the skyline. The sound of the harbor never stopped, and the city lived in rhythm with the sea. In 1800, New York's population was just over 60,000 people. Most residents lived near the southern tip of Manhattan. Daily life revolved around trade, shipping, and small workshops. Horse-drawn carts filled the streets, and candles still lit the nights. By 1807, the city witnessed a technological breakthrough. Robert Fulton launched the Clermont, the first commercially successful steamboat. This invention transformed river travel and strengthened New York's role as a transportation hub. The future was arriving faster than anyone expected. A major turning point came in 1811, when the commissioner's plan was approved. This ambitious grid plan shaped Manhattan with straight streets and avenues. It was a bold vision of order and expansion, designed for a city that had not yet arrived. The plan made growth inevitable. In 1825, New York changed forever with the opening of the Erie Canal. The canal connected the Atlantic Ocean to the Great Lakes. Goods from the American interior flowed directly into New York Harbor. Trade exploded, wealth increased, and New York quickly surpassed its rivals. From this moment on, the city became the economic heart of the nation. Just 3 years later, in 1828, construction began on the Croton Aqueduct. Clean water became a priority for the growing population. This project improved public health and allowed the city to expand safely. Modern infrastructure was taking shape. Disaster struck in 1835 during the Great Fire of New York. A freezing winter night and strong winds turned a small fire into an unstoppable inferno. Hundreds of buildings in Lower Manhattan were destroyed. The financial district was reduced to ashes. Yet, from the ruins, a stronger city emerged. Stone and brick replaced wood, and safety became a new priority. In 1845, another fire tested the city once again. But this time, New York was better prepared. Lessons had been learned, and the city continued to rise. By 1853, officials approved the design for Central Park. Construction officially began in 1857. What was once rocky, undeveloped land slowly transformed into a vast green oasis. The park represented balance, nature within a rapidly industrializing city. It remains one of the greatest urban planning achievements in history. Immigration reshaped New York throughout the century. In 1855, Castle Garden became the first official immigration center. Millions arrived seeking opportunity, freedom, and a new beginning. Languages mixed, cultures collided, and neighborhoods formed their own identities. New York became a city of the world. Tension reached a breaking point in 1863 during the draft riots. As the Civil War raged, working-class citizens protested mandatory military service. The riots lasted several days and turned deadly. Buildings burned, streets filled with violence, and the city faced one of its darkest moments. Order was eventually restored, but the scars remained. After the war, progress accelerated. In 1870, construction began on the Brooklyn Bridge. For 13 years, workers labored under dangerous conditions. Finally, In 1883, the bridge opened to the public. It was the longest suspension bridge in the world at the time. The bridge symbolized unity, engineering genius, and unstoppable ambition. By 1886, New York welcomed one of its most famous symbols. The Statue of Liberty arrived from France and stood proudly in the harbor. It greeted immigrants and represented hope, freedom, and new beginnings. For many, it was the first sight of America. The late 1880s and 1890s marked the rise of skyscrapers. Steel frame construction changed the skyline forever. Buildings reached heights never imagined before. Elevators replaced stairs, and the city began to grow upward.
We are truly rising above it all.
In 1892, Ellis Island opened as the new immigration station. Over the next decades, more than 12 million people would pass through its halls. Each arrival added another story to the city's identity. By 1898, the modern city of New York was officially formed. Manhattan, Brooklyn, Queens, the Bronx, and Staten Island were unified into a single city for the first time. This historic consolidation marked the birth of New York as a true metropolis, larger, more powerful, and more connected than ever before. As the century came to an end in 1899, the city stood completely transformed. What had once been a modest port town had grown into a global powerhouse of trade, industry, and opportunity. New York had reinvented itself through ambition, innovation, and relentless growth. The foundations of the modern world city were now firmly in place. The 1800s were not just a century of expansion. They were a century of bold vision, constant struggle, resilience in the face of disaster, and endless reinvention. Every street, every bridge, and every park carries a story that began in this era. Together, these moments shaped a city that would soon define the modern world. New York did not become great by chance. It was built year by year, decision by decision, and moment by moment. And by the dawn of the 20th century, the city was ready to lead the world.